So I'm gonna put a few resources in our chat. For the class last night, I will upload that to our new server. But I will if you didn't get the email, um, we have an email that just basically has all the resources for the cohort. So the first thing I will put in the chat is the G drive. That is your G drive for your cohort. You can basically get all the slides. We have the course book. We have fundamentals of networking, security plus note, and the practice exams as well. So the updated practice exams. So I will share that in 1 second. Okay, so what you can do, you can click on the link that I put in the chat, and then you're able to uh, get those resources. Okay, so here is the G Drive drink. Oh, excuse me. I said the G Drive drink. The G Drive link. All right, that is the G Drive link. That should be all set to go. And then the Discord.
When I click the G Drive link, it tells me
Hmm.
to request access.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
That's no problem. That's some feedback on that.
You're muted.
I have my other Zoom account in the chat so I can uh write some notes on the whiteboard, etc. So this is the way that we're going to do it. All right, so if you requested access for the G Drive, just request the access and I can actually make sure that you get access to it, which I'm doing right now. All right, so Baron, I got you. Larry, got you. Shar, I got you. Okay.
I think I put a request through the link. I don't know if you saw it. Just a
I
different,
see.
slightly different
Yep.
email.
See it right now. Bree, got you. Okay. I will keep giving people access as I go. All right. And then the Discord. So I'll share the Discord right now. And this is the server cohort 3. Okay. So as I share my screen real quick, I'll basically show you what's in our G drive, right? So let's see really quickly. Okay. So this is our G drive right here. If we go to cohort 3, boom, you have your week 1 and your week 2. So as we keep going through the cohort, your weeks will just start to appear. Um, of course, you can read through the book if you want to read in advance, right? But I suggest that, if you want to stay following along with what we do, pay attention to the slides and, anticipate the slides showing up as we go through different chapters. Okay, so you have your week 1 that is right here. This is everything we learned in last week. Okay. So you have this, right? If we go back, we have our week 2, which is what we're currently on. And you have everything that we're doing in class and what we're learning, right? Even our video resources as well, as we go through, right? So very good for retrieving what you need, right? If anybody doesn't have access to this, just let us know in the cohort Discord, and we'll give you access as soon as we can. Okay. So I put those links in there just to give you ease of access, right? And then from there on, you should be all set to go. Okay, uh any resources, anything that will help you along the way will actually be put in the same folder. So you don't have to go searching around for it. Okay, so you have the fundamentals of communications and networking, right? This is very optional if you want to get a better understanding of networking, right? Again, we're not covering this book, but it really helps when it comes to understanding how networks can actually be built or made, etc. So this can be a book that you can read in tandem with your course book. If we go down, you see the Security Plus 701 notes from Professor Messer. Um, these are a breakdown of the notes, so you can see everything that you need um, to look over. You can skim over it. I use this when, if I was taking the Security Plus exam, I would use this to fill in the gaps of knowledge that I don't have. All right, so if I didn't know anything about um, I don't know. Let's pick a topic. If I didn't know anything about CCTV, I would just come here and be like, oh, well, CCTV is closed circuit television. All right. So it's a closed circuit. It is a television only for the company that they can monitor people, faces, etc. And it can replace security guards, right? So camera features are important. Motion recognition can alarm and alert, right? Object detection, etc. Right? Uh, these are the notes that you can look at to fill in those gaps of knowledge when you feel like you don't know anything, right? Make sure you download it, right? And then when you download it, you can open up as a PDF or you can even print it out, right? And then what I usually do when I have these documents, I always control F, right, to find something I don't know, right? So what if I wanted to look at IPS, right? So I mean you have IP set, but I want to learn about a intrusion prevention system, right? Boom, we have it right here. Firewalls and IPSs, right? The the purpose of these are they stop network traffic before things get bad, right? And it's not super detailed. It's not saying that, hey, we have network agents on computer and they're snooping for traffic that we are not privy to, etc. It just tells you straight to the point, stop the network traffic before it gets bad, right? Intrusion prevention systems. All right. So this is a good resource. Use it to your advantage when you're studying for the exam. And then we also have the Security Plus practice exams, right, from Professor Messer. These are really good, very reliable, easy, easy peasy when it comes to like questions. So this is the Security Plus question format. All right. Um, it could be, for example, let's just say A6, right? A company has hired a third party to gather information about the company's server and data. This third party will not have direct access to the company's internal network, but they can gather information from any other source. Which of the following would be the best, right? Would be the best to describe this approach, right? So on the exam, they'll always talk about, hey, what's the best or what's the most or what's the least, etc. And you'd have to pick an answer based on, what they want you to describe, etc. Right? So, this question can be interpreted in many ways, right? The company isn't going to have direct access to uh, the internal systems, but they want to gather information about the servers and data, right? Is that going to be vulnerability scanning, regulatory audit, supply chain, right? The answer is going to be B, is going to be passive reconnaissance because, anybody who's in the military or, in law enforcement, reconnaissance is really just getting, just data and insight and information, intel before you create a plan or before you go into action, right? But these are the type of questions they're going to ask on the test, all right? So if we go down, right, other questions like this, which one of these threat actors would most, right? You see the word most likely attack systems for direct financial gain, right? We'll learn about different types of threat actors, right? We'll learn about organized crime, hacktivists, nation state, and shadow IT, right? The question for this one is going to be most likely organized crime, right? They're going to hack a system for financial gain. A hacktivist will learn about a hacktivist, but a hacktivist is someone that hacks a system for political awareness or political gain, i.e., the Panama Papers or WikiLeaks, etc. They want the public to know the truth about such and such, either elite, wealthy, rich, or political parties. Nation state is more so of like a terrorist group, a terrorist organization, China, Russia, etc. And then shadow IT means that we've probably launched too many servers, too many databases, and we can get hacked because we didn't have any type of um, checks or balances on these systems, right? So that's something that you can actually um, you can get rid of that answer all together, right? So they'll throw answers that don't make sense for the question or do not pertain to the question. Okay. So I'll say this all to say is that to use this practice and study guide throughout the cohort, we'll be going through these together. Um, and this will help strengthen it will help strengthen what we do for the Security Plus. Okay. So I think everyone should have that. Anybody don't have access to this, or does anybody have questions, etc. before we go?
I'll have to request access later today.
Oh,
I'll
you
get
just
it.
request access?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I need to. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Cool, no problem. Okay, so I think that's it. So I'm going to quickly use the bathroom and get some water, and then everyone you can get some water, get yourself mentally prepared for today. The first thing we're going to do is a do now, just more so of a refresher of what we learned in the last, was it 2 days? So we'll do a do now. I'll switch on to groups, but go ahead, get some water, get a snack on the side or something, and I'll be right back. All right. All right. Everyone good to go? Everyone got some water?
Or coffee.
Coffee? Yeah, that's good. Definitely get into coffee for sure. We're going to be in for some few slides, all right? So we're going to do a quick assignment. I want to make sure that everyone is getting what we've been putting down, all right? So I will share the link for this. And then I'll actually talk about the exercise as well, right? Very simple, something that we can do by referencing the slides that we did yesterday. Okay. So I'll share my screen and then we should be able to get into it. All right. So in class, we do these activities called the do now, right? So the do now will actually help you and invigorate you with all the slides that we learned, all the information that you're getting in, right? And we want to make sure that you retain everything, right? So with this, right, with the do nows, they help you think outside the box a bit, right? Yesterday we talked about the AAA in cybersecurity, right? There's also two-factor authentication, the CIA triad, right? Logs, threats, etc., right? So what the instructions are to do is, right, take 10 minutes to answer the questions below, right? We're going to put you guys into groups of, let's do groups of three, okay? Groups of three, and what you'll do is in your own instance, right? We'll talk about, hey, what is the AAA framework, right? How does it keep a company's database secure? Okay. What is the CIA triad, right? Are we talking about the CIA, the agency, or are we talking about confidentiality, integrity, authentication, right? Um, Provide a definition for each, and then also provide an instance on, hey, it says, hey, what would you do to keep a cloud storage system secure using the CIA triad? Now, you may not know how to do that yet, right? But what you can do is say, hey, we know about the CIA triad, right? And it is for confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Maybe for a cloud system, we would make sure that all customers' data is confidential, right? Or we would make sure that the databases are always available when we want to retrieve information, right? It is totally up to you, but what you can do is you have Google there just to ask the questions and say, hey, we learned about CIA triad in class, right? Um, what are some examples of CIA triad, right? And also think about some examples in your own lives, right? So if you're at work, right? Um, what systems need to be confidential, right? What systems need to have integrity behind it? Okay, is it the patient data that I use and work with, or is it, you know, um, customers' bank account numbers that needs to be available at all times. Remember that example yesterday? If I need to see what my bank balance is in my bank account, it needs to be accurate from the time I access it, from the time I, take money out of it, right? So you have that example. And then we talked about multi-factor authentication, right? So name two ways that multi-factor authentication is used and explain why it makes systems safer, right? So everyone had examples of multi-factor authentication. Some people use Okta, some people use Duo, etc., right? Use those examples, okay? Use those examples, and then from there on, we should be good. Okay. We also have logs and threats. Why are logs useful for finding security problems? Okay. So if you don't know what a log is basically plain text information that shows who accessed the system, who, when, where, what, etc. Right. It's evidence that shows us who has been saving files, downloading files, or who's been accessing systems, right? It's very important as cybersecurity analysts that we have these logs, okay? So that will be your do now, okay? And then afterwards, we'll talk about different examples that y'all come up with. We'll talk about how we can apply these examples to real life, etc. And from there on, we'll go into our slides. Any questions on what we're doing? All good? Okay. No questions. All right. So I'll put y'all in some breakout rooms, okay? Um, Make sure that you have this link and then discuss with your partner on what you can do to fill these definitions, what these definitions are about, and provide some real world examples. Okay. So I will put everybody into some groups. People who came late, your cohort members will give you some pointers on what the do now is. Okay. So let me put y'all into some groups. Let me see, breakout rooms. Okay, so I'm gonna get Shar, Aaron, and Alana in one group. Let's see. And then let's do Antonio, Baron, and Bree in one group. All right. And then let's see who else. David, Darrison, and Emery in one group. All right. And then we have Fabiola, France, and Georges. I didn't do that on purpose. No. Your names just came. Jasmine, just okay, no, not Jasmine. Jessica, Crystal, and Larry. And then the last group is going to be Lauren and Malcolm. Okay, we got two Laurens in here. Okay. All right. Okay. Any more questions? Everyone knows what they're doing. Give me a thumbs up.
The link for the questions is where?
It's in the chat, but
Okay.
one of your core members should have it.
Yeah, I also don't have like access to the the link or the Google Drive.
Okay. Um, in our chat, do you see it in our chat?
Yeah, I
It's in
see it,
the
but
chat, but we gotta
yeah,
request access
yeah,
to it.
you have to request
Okay, let
access.
me do that right now. Okay, so I see Antonio needs it. Okay, share it. Boom. Uh, David, got you. Who
Thank
else?
you.
No problem. Yeah.
Are we submitting per group or individually?
Um, you're it's a group effort, so you're not submitting it individually.
Okay.
Yeah. Who is Dania? I don't know who that is. No, Lauren.
That was big, but I got it on my laptop.
Oh, okay. Got you. Okay, cool. All right. We should be good to go. Okay, I'm opening up the rooms now and everyone should be good. I'll jump in occasionally. So I'll give you 10 minutes. So at around 8:10 or 7:10 Central Time, we'll be good to go. Jasmine, how's it going?
I was actually about to, I can come on camera, ain't nobody in here. I was actually about to ask you when was gonna be the first break? I think, cause I got some questions.
Yeah, no problem. I'm going to trying to get Malcolm to go to his room. Hey, Malcolm, can you go to your room for me, please?
Um, that's the way.
I'm going to stop. I'm going to pause the record. All right. Okay, let's do another. So remember, we have authentication, authorization, and accounting. All right. But let's do authorization, right? Which group did authorization, or does any group have an example of authorization in a system? I'll let y'all just, just go. I'm not going to choose anybody.
Authorization is making sure that the person who is accessing the data actually has the permission and clearance to view those documents or whatever the.
Okay. And what are some examples? Do we have an example of authorization from you? Anybody else has an example?
I think that's where your passwords come into play. Also, you can do MFA there. You can also, even if like physically, have like authorization to where like only certain people are allowed in that room. So like if it's like behind a door and you have like a keypad or like a password to that door, only certain people have that code to get into that room. So that can also help with authorization because then only the people that have that information or have that code can get in. So that limits who has access, which helps in other areas as well.
Yeah, certainly, right? So authorization is very, very important, right? Who has access to what system, what room, what data, etc., right? So if we go to our whiteboard, we can look at some authorization principles, right? So for example, let's go to the whiteboard real quick, okay? Um, go down and let's just say, hey, uh, we have we have come on, right? Okay. We have Marcus. We have Cindy. Give her some hair. I did my best. And we have Jeff, right? We'll give him like a little toupee. I don't know. That's not a
I
toupee.
think we get the point.
But who's authorized to a system? So Marcus can look at, patient data, right? And Cindy can look at patient data plus invoices, right? And then I forget his name. Let's call him Jeff.
Jeff.
Yeah. Jeff can only look at invoices, right? And then he can only look at let's just call this company invoices instead of patient invoices. Company invoices, right? But when it comes to customer invoices, right? Jeff cannot do that. He cannot do that because why? Cindy is the only person and Marcus is the only person that are in, let me go back. They're the only people that can do patient records. Okay. Jeff is in the finance department. Okay. All right. And then we have another person. Just oh, it's not good. Go back. Whatever. Let's call him Anthony. All right. Give Anthony a hat. Okay. Anthony is a developer. And he has access to the data repository. And source code. Right? Anybody know what a source code is?
Isn't that the backend code that's used to create something?
Source code is basically the code that is for your app or for your software, right? So if I got the source code to Zoom, that means I could break Zoom or I could sell it to somebody, right? Zoom is probably made up of so many different libraries, etc., right? But the source code is basically like a foundation of a house, right? If someone has the source code, that is it. Okay. You have our source code, that means you know how to build our app or you can sell it to the highest bidder, etc., right? But everyone here, right? Let me zoom out. It's too far. All these folks here, right? Let's just say Jeff, Cindy, Marcus, right? They will never, ever have access to this. Number one, why? It is not part of their job. Number two, if it's in the wrong hands, right, that could put the company under, etc., right? So having some type of authorization is very important, okay? In other ways, it can manifest in certain rooms, right? You may need a key card, and that key card is not programmed for you to um, get into that building, okay? Or get into that data center, etc., right? So you must have some type of authorization to give people, just access to what they need and what they need only, right? Again, we talked about the example yesterday. If we gave everybody access to the source code, if we gave everybody access to documents in the company, then we would have far more potential for breaches and potential to harm our company, right? So this is the reason why we have authorization factors in tech and cybersecurity. All right. So hopefully this is something that makes sense and that you can visualize as we move forward. Okay. All right. I think the last one was let's see. Authorization accounting. I think it's availability. Let me see. Okay, that was authentication, excuse me, authorization, and then authentication as well. All right. So who has, I think I just did authorization. Yeah, I just did authorization. Who wants to do authentication? Where do we authenticate? How do we authenticate? Why is it necessary? Anybody can go.
So authentication is necessary because you want to make sure that It confirms that the right person is accessing the system.
Mhm. Mhm. Okay. What tools do we use for authentication?
We we can use the multi-factor
Mhm.
route or the two-factor route.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Again, so multi-factor or two-factor route, right? Again, Duo, um, what else? OTPs, etc. What else is good for authentication? We have fingerprints, retinal scans. Anything else?
We said key fobs.
Yeah, you can have key fobs as well. Okay. All right. So you get an idea of why these frameworks are important, right? We want to authenticate to a system using a device or using some type of physical device, etc. And then once we get through, what are we authorized to look at, right? Are we authorized to look at certain data? Is it, secret? Is it top secret, etc.? And then accountability, right? So, who entered the room or who entered those database or systems at what time, right? And what was their role, right? Easy to understand, right? But this is going to really govern a lot of what you do in tech and cybersecurity, right? So very important. All right. So the next thing we'll move on is to the CIA triad, right? So this question asks, what would you do to keep a cloud storage system secure using the CIA triad, right? So it could be a very advanced question if you don't know anything about cloud storage systems, right? But let's kind of break it down to its essence, right? Confidentiality, integrity, and availability. All right. So we'll just focus on that. But tell me what confidentiality is when it pertains to data, right? Why is confidentiality important?
Well, people can, I don't know, sometimes if people have access to data, they can change it. So kind of messing up the authenticity of it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, it could be misused.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah. So I think that speaks to why it should be confidential to certain people, I guess, who have access to it, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
really good, really good. Yeah. So if it's not confidential, it could affect integrity and availability, right? If I get some of that information and I'm able to edit it or, send it to the wrong people, hey, that confidentiality is lost, that integrity is lost, or availability. If I'm able to delete it, right? Shar had an example yesterday where you had like a nuke button where you could delete all the data at one time, right? So that could compromise confidentiality, integrity, or availability of the information. Okay, so um, anyone has any examples, real life examples of confidentiality, integrity, or availability? Why is it so important? Maybe at the job, does anybody work with patient records
hmm
or customer records?
Yeah, I got a couple examples.
Okay.
It's like one would be like the whoever works with like the lottery ticket. Obviously, you want that to be confidential. You don't want anyone to know who what the winning number is before it goes out.
Mhm.
And then I do work with like with patient information. So that's like always just like sensitive information. No one wants other people to know what their medical business is going on.
Mhm. Yeah, certainly, right? People would like some type of privacy, right? And you can't just walk up to a pharmacy and say, "Hey, what's John Smith's birthday and his medical records and why did he go to the hospital?" Right? That is a breach of HIPAA and probably you can get sued for that, right? Um, these things are very important, right? So you want to have that. You also want to have those records available, right? So I want to make sure that my records are accurate whenever I pull them from the database. And then when it comes to availability, when I come to your office or come to your pharmacy, you have to be able to have my information right then and there, right? If I can't pull up your information and you're like, hey, I'm breaking out in hives, I need my certain medication, and I can't pull up that medication, then that is a breach to the system, right? So that is very important why systems have to be updated and treated because, say what you want, cybersecurity can be a matter of life and death. Okay.
Yeah, I have a good example of that too.
Mhm. Go
Is
ahead.
that with the we work with insurance, so it's like the insurance has to, it was a New Year's, so all the new plans are renewing. So like all these systems have to be updated, new plans have to be renewed, and sometimes it's a process, sometimes it's not instantly updated. So people are trying to book trips to get to their appointment and we can't book it because they're not eligible or it's
Hmm.
not showing that they're eligible even though they may be. So that's the availability issue.
Hmm. Absolutely. That's a good example. All right. Cool. All right. Next is multi-factor authentication, right? So name two ways to use multi-factor authentication, explain it, and why it makes it, systems safer. Okay. So I'll pick on a group here. Let's see. All right. Let's do Crystal and Larry's group. Okay. Um, why is multi-factor authentication so critical? And tell the class how you use it in your daily lives.
Um, Multi-factor, it's just an extra layer of security.
Mm,
And for me, I use it to log into work every day. I use it for my bank. Um, yeah, I use it in multiple ways. I think all day I'm getting pins to log into anything at this point,
mm,
and or using the Microsoft app for the
mm,
Microsoft Authenticator. But yeah, it's just an extra layer of protection. Just typing in your password alone, like anyone can get a hold of your password. So it's just a second layer to protect you from if that information is compromised.
mm. Yeah, certainly, certainly. And I'm sure everyone is familiar with multi-factor authentication and why we use it, right? But it's good that we have a second layer of security because even if someone knows my password, right, they'll have to get through the multi-factor authentication. And that could be a retinal scan, that could be fingerprints, that could be a one-time password or, some recovery keys, etc. Right? That is going to help us secure our data. But when we secure our data, it is giving us options, right? Not just letting us have one form of sign on. Okay. Someone had a question in the chat. Let's see. Even when it's a new device, you have to verify. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So multi-factor authentication, and when you can apply it, just apply it, right? And be able to put that on, when you have to protect something. Maybe it could be your bank account, maybe it could be your patient records, or even your phone or your iPad. Definitely your laptop as well, just in case any of those items get stolen. Okay. The next thing is going to be logs and threats, right? So why are logs useful for finding security problems? And someone wrote here, they help administrators and security investigators determine what happened, like when, where, and who, or what did it, right? Who did it? Okay, so real life example, when I have to deliver Amazon packages to logistic companies, I have to log me coming into their facility and who took the package. That's a good example. Who put that example there?
My bad, that was me.
That's all good. That's all good. Okay, so walk us a bit through that. So how does that happen when you do the packages?
So I do part-time well, that's my main income right now. I do Amazon Flex. So whenever there's any packages that have to go to like logistic companies, I have to go through the security gate. They have to basically take my driver's license, log me in before I can go into the building.
Mm,
Once I'm logged in, I can go inside the building. But inside the building, whoever grabs the package has to grab my name, the time I
mm,
came in, who the package is for, and they have to actually put their name down and make sure whenever they go back into it, if that package is actually missing, they can actually track who had it at what time.
Yeah, absolutely. So you see some accountability in there, right? Accountability, who had the package, where did the package go, so that, if the package is lost, there's no mix up on, hey, where does this package go? It's, unaccounted for, etc. Right? We don't like that in technology or in cybersecurity, right? So logs can be digitally or they can be in person, right? Um, Logs are very important when it comes to cybersecurity, all right? So that is a great example, right? These things, these processes are set up for a reason so that we're able to identify and track and see who has done what in our system. Okay. So that is the do now activity. Everyone did a really great job with the activity. We're going to take a 5-minute break. So you come back at 55, and then we're going to watch a video. And I believe we're going to end it on that video. And then Thursday and Friday, we're going to go into more lectures. All right. So, um, you know what? Who do y'all want to just watch the video and then go for the night? Give me a
Yes.
thumbs up.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, watch the video.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, please.
Makes
Yeah,
sense. Okay.
please. Yep.
All right. Everybody's tired, huh? All right. Give me 1 second. Uh, um,
This is what Ivy League universities you can get into with a 3.6 GPA. 90% is.
But we begin.
all right. Play the video for y'all. 2-minute video. We'll talk about this tomorrow, what the problem was. And there's a lack of, authentication, accountability, and authorization. Okay.
And with that massive Microsoft technology outage, cybersecurity firm CrowdStrike says it identified a critical problem in its software and is working to fix the issue. Around the world, computer users were greeted with an error screen that some people have referred to as the Windows blue screen of death. The outage affected government entities and news organizations, as well as almost every industry across the globe, including banks, airports, healthcare providers, and retailers. According to FlightAware.com, an online flight tracking website, more than 27,000 flights were delayed globally. Now, for more on all this, I want to bring in Justin Capos. He's a professor and cybersecurity expert at NYU's Tandon School of Engineering. So, Justin, immediately people began to suspect a cyber attack when things weren't working, but that's not the case here. What exactly caused this massive outage?
Well, really, this is a failure for them to do adequate quality assurance. What they did is they took an update that they had not tested, they had not correctly vetted, and they just sent it out to millions and millions of users, causing massive outages. And even worse than this, the way in which they did their update was for a very sensitive part of the system. So it didn't just cause a minor software glitch on computers that were otherwise up and running, but it actually caused them to fail to boot. And this is such a serious thing because it's so difficult for many users to go and recover from.
And this is a cybersecurity firm that's entire purpose is to make sure that there aren't these types of critical failures. I just have to ask if it's normal to roll out an update like this everywhere at once. Obviously, it should have been tested, but is that kind of a miscalculation on their part?
Yes, I mean, there's multiple ways in which they were negligent. And one of them is you almost always roll something out a small piece at a time. Either that or you've done testing behind the scenes, and it appears that neither of those was done. That something just went right out to everybody.
And this outage obviously highlights just how digitally interconnected we all are. So what's to stop something like this?
Take a look at that, right? 60% of Fortune 500 companies experience that. Okay. So it was present in 43 out of the 50 states. It was a problem. And then it protects 8 of the 10 companies like financial, food, beverages, etc. Airplane industry as well. So major disruption, right? But within that, right, you can see, hey, who was authorized to go into the system, right? Where was the accounting when it came to that? right? Someone got fired. I don't know who, but it was probably most likely someone's manager, right, for letting maybe the analysts uh push out those updates, etc. And sometimes they're automated, but the fault was that all the time you're supposed to have risk assessments, you're supposed to have meetings to say, hey, we're about to push out an update that will go out to millions of users. Okay, what is the implications of these updates, right? And if we have uh something that goes wrong, right, we have to have a rollback plan, right? So a rollback plan says, hey, we can revert the state of this system to what it was before we pushed out that update. All right. So that's what happened in this instance. A very good example of, authentication, authorization, and accounting, right? Who was authenticated to make that decision, right? Who was authorized to make that decision, and who was accountable for it. All right. So that's the effect of what happened with CrowdStrike. And as you can see, it affected a lot of companies that day.
Whether it is negligent or malicious from happening again.
Well, really, until people put the right sort of security practices in place, these issues will continue to happen. A lot of the open source community has pretty robust ways of dealing with this. There's things like software attestations, better protections around software signing and rollback protection. All of these types of things are exactly the types of things that they should have been doing. And obviously we're not because of this massive outage. So it's one of these things where CrowdStrike made a big mistake. But Microsoft also, by not having better controls and mechanisms in place, is also in some ways equally to blame for this.
All right, Justin Capos, thank you.
No offense.
All right. Cool. So we're gonna wrap it up here today. For Thursday and Friday, we're gonna have a lot of just lecture, right? So everyone has access to the book. Start to read chapter 1. You'll have some time to read that between today, tomorrow. Use the weekend to catch up, please. I want y'all to at least get halfway uh through chapter 1 by Friday and then finish it by Sunday. Okay, but we will go through the lectures, and we'll do a little bit of more do nows just to make sure that everyone has a good understanding of what we're learning. Okay, so if you have any questions, right, be sure to contact me on Discord, and I'll help you and try to answer the question as best as I can. And we should be all set. Okay, so wonderful class today. Everyone is getting the information piece by piece. Don't be discouraged if it seems like you're not understanding it. It will come, right? You have no choice but to learn it, because this is all that we're going to be talking about. All right. But I think the real world examples will help you apply it to your life. All right. So without further ado, everyone, have a good night. I'll stay on for a little bit just to answer any questions, but you're free to go.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night. Mhm.
Good night.
Deontay,
Yeah.
I do not have access to Discord. I tried every email that you have access to.
Okay. Give me 1 second. Can it's in the chat.
Okay.
Let me put it in the chat. Here it is. Cool.
Thank you.
No problem.
And then then I'll
Oh,
have access to the book from there, right?
I need to give you the drive, and I need to grant you access.
Okay.
Okay, give me 1 second. Okay.
Mm.
All right. All good. All right. Anybody else that I can help with a question?
All right. Thank you.
No
I'm
problem.
in.
No problem. Who else can I help? Anybody else? Are y'all just hanging out?
I do have a question. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Sorry, Bree, go ahead.
It's not regarding class. It's regarding invoicing. I don't know if you'll be available after this.
Yeah, okay. Let me take care of everyone else and then we can chat about that. Okay?
Okay.
All right, bye.
All right. Good night, everyone.
All right. Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Good
I
night.
just be staying behind to try to see what interesting questions pop up.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did have some good examples. Thank you for the breakout class. My group was very interactive.
Yeah.
We had some really good feedback. When it came to talking about the login portion, we had a really good example just from the Google Drive alone, because we wanted to know if anybody, because we saw that they were making changes, and we was like, well, is this all the questions? So then I went and I looked at the history, and I was like, it's Fabiola over here.
No, yeah.
It gives the
Yeah.
name, it gives the timestamp,
Yeah. Yeah.
everything. So it's that
Yeah.
log. And then when
Oh
it came
yeah.
to the authorization, you authenticated us for the Google Drive.
Yeah.
And then authorization, you can give different permissions if we can edit or not edit and things like
Exactly.
that. And then the accounting portion, I was like, oh, this is a really good example right here. And that's
Yeah.
when you came in on that portion where we was laughing about that because we was calling out Fabio.
Yeah, yeah,
Fabiola.
yeah. No, that's cool. That's
But
cool.
yeah,
I wish I would have thought about that too. I'm like, it's right in my face, but you know, just going through, I just pull examples of like what I see on the job, etc.
right.
Yeah. Good, 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 good. That's good. That's very good.
Right. All right, yeah.
Have a good night. Okay. Georges, Lauren, you have any questions? I think Lauren went off. Georges, how about you?
No, nothing. Just like Shara.
Waiting for some good questions. Okay. Well, Bree has to talk to me about something else, so I'm gonna just jump into a room with her, and then after that, that's pretty much it. Okay. So,
Okay. Have a good night.
all right. Have a good night, sir. All right. I'm gonna jump into a room with you. Okay. Go to room. I'm gonna assign room 2 for you. Okay. So, yeah.